welcome to another exciting episode of HxGN TV. I'm your host, Jackie. We're joining you here today from CES 2020 to discuss consumer electronics manufacturing. The consumer electronics market has never been so competitive, and product quality is an increasingly key differentiator for manufacturers in this space. To find out more about the role of quality in manufacturing, we're joined here today by Stephen Graham, who is the VP of Marketing for HxGN's Manufacturing Intelligence Division. Steve, thanks so much for joining us today.
Sure.
So the consumer electronics sector, as we all know, is notoriously fast moving, and we're seeing a lot of that here at CES. As manufacturers work to stay competitive, do you think the meaning of quality has changed for this sector?
I'm not sure the meaning of quality has changed, but maybe the emphasis has changed. So, always the kind of functional aspects of the device and the quality associated with that has always been important. That's fundamental to any consumer electronics device. But I guess what we're seeing a lot more of in recent years is an increasing focus on the perceived quality of the device as well as just the functional quality.
This phrase, perceived quality, what does that mean in this space?
So perceived quality is, as it suggests, is all about the perception of the quality of the device from the consumer, from the user. I think if you think about modern smartphones or wearable devices like smartwatches or headsets, or even devices that you want to put in your home, like a smart speaker, something like that, people are becoming more and more concerned about the look and the feel of those devices. They're devices that you want to be proud to own, things that kind of enhance your personality, that kind of thing. And so that perception of the quality of the device is becoming increasingly important. And it's a way for electronics manufacturers to differentiate their products as well by considering the perceived quality of it.
That makes sense. As customers demand these better quality products and want them faster, of course, what impact does that then have on the technology used to measure product quality?
Right. So like I say, the functional aspects of it, that hasn't changed. But with more and more focus on perceived quality, there's more and more technology needed to measure the physical attributes of the product. So if you think about there's a lot more dimensional inspection goes in. So if you're considering a device which maybe has a glass display on it, the way that glass display meets the metal housing of the device behind it, that kind of thing becomes increasingly important. We're finding our customers are interested to measure things like that down to the accuracy of microns. They don't want to see light leaking out from behind the display around the side of the device, that kind of thing. But it's not just dimensional quality, other physical aspects of the device, the way colors are reproduced on the product. They don't want to see scratches on the product. A lot of these kind of cosmetic things become increasingly important, so more and more technology is needed to inspect that.
It seems like there are a lot of challenges then, and why are manufacturers coming to HxGN then to help them solve those challenges?
Yeah, sure. So I think at HxGN we have a lot of expertise in the domain of quality inspection in particular. So we've been working with a number of electronics manufacturers already for a number of years, and that kind of backed up with the decades of working in this field of quality inspection in other industries like automotive and aerospace. So we have a lot of expertise and a lot of technology to bring to bear on these problems.
Right. Is it possible to reduce the levels of inspection required in electronics manufacturing?
That's a good question. So like I say, the trend at the moment is for increasing inspection, and we see a lot of that. I think the demand for increasing quality, sort of as the industrial designers think of increasingly sophisticated ways of developing the products, the demand for increasing quality is more or less insatiable. Mm-hmm. But we can't keep adding inspection to the production cycle. That kind of gets in the way of being able to deliver the products at the end of the day.
Slows things down.
Yeah, and so a more intelligent approach is needed in the future. And so then that comes down to taking a smarter approach to manufacturing, leveraging the data that's coming off the factory floor, both from the inspection process and actually from the full product life cycle to then more intelligently adapt the production process to reduce the amount of inspection that's needed, even if the quality requirements are increasing.
Okay, right. You started by telling us how quality has changed for electronics manufacturers to date. So now we'll wrap up this interview by asking you, what do you think the future of quality looks like for manufacturers in this sector?
I think in consumer electronics, more and more attention to the perceived quality of the product. And then associated with that, we're seeing more and more variants of products. People are interested to have products that feel more personalized. And so that kind of leads to a future where there's more and more customization of products. That means that a production process and a quality control process needs to be much more adaptive to changing circumstances. And so, our vision for the future is a much more autonomous manufacturing environment, something that can respond in real time to changing conditions and changing requirements.
Great, thanks so much for that. I really appreciate all that insight.
Thank you.
For more information about quality and manufacturing, please visit hexagonmi.com. And of course, to watch more episodes of HxGN TV, head on over to hxgnspotlight.com. Thanks for tuning in.